Hello everyone and welcome to our video. In our video today, we're learning about the reflexive thinking canvas. This canvas here, it was designed to help us become aware of the fact that how we think shapes what we see, what we do, and the results we create around the world. It also emphasizes on the idea that our thinking shapes our perspectives, our actions, and the results or the outcomes in the world. And in turn, how these outcomes they feed or influence the way in which we think, thus creating a cycle or feedback loop. This canvas also looks forward to help us understand how this loop works and become more aware of it. It also helps us imagine what we could do or what could change if we started looking at the system in a more interconnected way in which it works, in a more systemic way, and to see the outcomes that we create based out of it. This canvas has 4 dimensions. Each dimension, which is thinking, seeing, acting, and creating the world around us, feeds into one another, like we discussed, creating a feedback loop. This is how the canvas looks like. Each dimension has these 2 boxes. One on the left, it talks about what happens if you start looking at the world in a more linear way. And one on the right is more about looking at the world in a more systemic lens. Now, for us to understand this canvas in a much better way, we should use a challenge. Now, after we have decided on a challenge, you invite participants to start filling out on the boxes in the left under each dimension and completing the cycle. After they're done with this step, you invite them to understand and reflect what are the different terms that are being repeated and what are the characteristics that you can notice when one thinks in a more linear and reductionist way. After everybody has collected their thoughts, we move on to the next step, which is filling out the boxes on the right under each dimension, which is applying the systemic lens to look at the world or the challenge. And doing the same, like trying to see what comes together, what are the different things, and how does this differ from the analytic way of looking at the world. Now, for us to understand this better, I have applied this canvas to an example here, which is rising rates of obesity in a community. That's my challenge. And on the left, to represent the linear or current way of thinking, I have used the orange stickies, and to represent the systemic way of looking at it, I have used green stickies for no particular reason, just for the sake of colors, to emphasize this better. So if I were to apply linear analytic way of thinking, I would consider obesity as a personal problem and would think it was mainly caused by the way people behaved or their attitudes, and would think obesity is a problem result as people eat too much or do not exercise enough, which makes me to look at this problem in a way, thinking that people are not making healthy choices and that maybe they need to limit the kind of purchases they are doing and have more awareness about good food that is available for them. And based on this perspective, I might be acting to create more of these awareness campaigns, probably really shouting at people to say, eat better, exercise more, or also, introduce a sugar tax. Then creating the outcome in the world by maybe some people, we change the behavior, but overall the rate of obesity might stay same or would have just gone up. I might have created an environment where people feel blame, they don't feel secure, they just feel ashamed of themselves and ignoring completely about the root causes that exist, like the food deserts, poverty, stress, or other things that influence obesity in a community. Now, in this thinking, I'm just keeping this as an individual problem. Now, let's move on to the systemic way of looking at this. If I were to look at it in this way, I would think obesity is maybe what appears on the surface. Maybe it's all deeply interconnected in a complex factors of affecting things like which involves food accessibility, stress, culture, urban design, economic inequality, and more. And I would start looking at it like, people live in environments maybe that is easier to make unhealthy choices of food and maybe harder to live in active lives. Maybe it's not a personal choice, but it's an outcome of the design of the social and structural designs of the city. And then maybe I start to look at it as a more community problem. And then I would try to bring together community members, health experts, or city planners to explore the deeper causes, maybe co-design solutions that would be like, oh, bring more access to fresh food, create safe walking spaces, maybe redesign the way in which the lunches are being served at school, and also start looking at the mental health factors and how can this all reduce inequality. And as a result of this, maybe I'm creating a world which helps look at the health as an interconnected factors of different elements. And maybe out of this, people feel more empowered and do not feel blamed. Then changes are more sustainable, they reach more people, and maybe we also start witnessing the shifts in the system that are caused by the problem of obesity in the first place. Well, we have reached to the end of the video. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope this helped you understand the concept of reflexive thinking and how it shapes the way we perceive, act, and also the outcomes that we create in the world. If you found this useful, please follow us and watch out for this space for more tools and canvases. You can access the Canvas toolkit in the event description below this video.